Well, hello everybody. It's a new day and a new project. I'm gonna work on taking this old starter out of this dozer. I'm getting tired of it doing this right here. Oops, spilled my Pepsi. Bendix gear's not engaging. And when it does, it turns the dozer over as it gets ready to start up, it disengages too early. So I'm gonna take it out. Take this guard off, and I gotta work in that little hole right there. And that's a tight fit, and there's hoses going to the transmission. I don't know, hydraulic hoses, I think that's what those are. And they're right in the way. Well, I made a special 9/16 wrench for that last year. Well, it's been over a year ago. They make a bent one for this, but I used this one, and I took a grinder around it, ground off a lot of metal on that wrench. Because them bolts are so close to the starter, the main body of the starter, the fatness of the boxed in wrench wouldn't let it get on the bolt, so I ground it down so it'll fit in there. So I'll go ahead and work on taking that side guard off and see if I can get on in there and hook the battery first, of course, but catching's in a minute. So I bought the starter from some company out of Cincinnati, Ohio. It come off eBay, and I bought it Sunday night. It was supposed to be here Monday. I thought it was coming directly from Cincinnati, but it come from Jacksonville, Florida. And as of midnight last night, it shipped out of some place in Georgia, and it's supposed to be here tomorrow, which is January 24th. So I can go ahead and start getting the old one out, because it's going to take a minute. It's in a tight spot, and it is right there. I've replaced that solenoid once. That starter, it's huge. And the new ones are some kind of high torque gear reduction or something. They're smaller, so it'll fit in there better. And I bought one for my 48 wheelies one time, and 52 Dodge Army truck, so they work really well. So I hope it works out good for this. Start a lot better than it has been. I'm going to show you that bolt that's really hard to get to, if I can get you in there. Right there. It's a 9/16 bolt. And it's loose now. I worked on it for a little bit, but it's up against the main body of the starter, whatever you want to call it. It's hard to get a wrench in there. I use that special one I made. And two, this hole's small, and you got this hose and steel line in the way, and it really don't move. It's a little bit difficult. It's going to take some time, but I might get it loose enough where I can get my fingers in there. That's maybe, or a screwdriver to kind of twist it around, but I'll get it eventually. Looky there. I finally got it out. I put that one in there new 2 years ago. Luckily it come out easy. Well, out of the hole, but it wasn't easy to unbolt, because I couldn't get much turn on the wrench. And another thing what a lot of people did over the years was cut this hole bigger. Take a torch and cut it bigger, which that's a big no-no. Don't ever cut in the frame of a dozer, so luckily this one hasn't been done like that, and I'm not going to do it. It's something definitely you shouldn't do, is weaken the frame on a dozer. They've already get a lot of abuse, but I got one more to take out the top, and then we got to fight that thing out of there. Another thing I'm going to do here is take this glass canister style fuel filter off and hook that fuel line. I've already shut the tank off, so we'll have a little bit drip out, but try to get things out of the way, make it a little bit easier. John Deere sure did put that in there in a hard to get spot. This probably could use a replacement one. It's about a year and a month old. Hopefully it's not too dirty. Oh, I replaced that December 2nd, 2022. At 85.3 hours. And I believe I made a video of that replacement. Yep. It's got a lot of sediment in it. I could buy a new one of those. And that is a Fleet Guard FF203. Probably go pick one of those up and down this week. Might as well put a new one on it while I'm working on it. Another bolt is somewhere down there in that mess. I'm gonna have to find it here. It's kind of hard to see. Found the other bolt. Actually, it's a nut. There's a stud coming out of that bell housing. It's right down on in there. Let me see if I can get you in there. Kind of hard to work with all this crap. It's right there at the tip of the finger. Still in a pretty difficult spot to get to. I had to find a piece of copper and tie all them wires up, that wiring harness. It's been at least probably 3 years since I had this out, so. And it's tight against the block. I mean, tight. That starter's huge. You can see it's not even enough room for this screwdriver to fit between it and the block. And it's pretty good size. I think what my problem is really this solenoid or whatever. It like pulls back a lever, and it pulls it back this way, and it shoots that Bendix gear into that flywheel. I think it's got a spring behind it too, but I've replaced that once and it helped. Then later on it got bad again, so I just had to heck with it and try a different starter altogether. And it was only like 130 bucks. And this engine block is hot too. I mean, I got my block heater on. And I made a video about that a couple years ago too, installing one of these circulating tank heaters. This one's 120 volt, 750 on the wattage, and just to compare it with the Pepsi can, there it is. I mean, I don't think it was that much. It was less than 100 bucks, but it's got this block pretty warm. It's a lot better starting. No ether involved. So I'll go ahead and get that bolt off, a nut, and we'll be ready to pull that out. And then you get to watch me fight it. That's going to be a job right there. I finally got that pesky starter out. I mean, there just isn't a whole lot of room in there. Well, there is now, but that big starter in there, I mean, it's tight. I tell you, what I did is I pulled it back and turned it up and pulled it, the gear facing me up through this hole. John Deere, there is a little bit of a cut in this frame right here. That's factory. And another thing too that made it hard getting out is that tag right there. It's got 2 screws holding it in. I just now seen that I can take them out. There's a Phillips and a flathead screw that holds that tag on there. Them screw heads was making it hard to come out. Another thing I did is when I was yanking on this, getting it out, I seen this frame flex a little bit, so I went and got my 2-inch strap and put it around that post and put a little bit of tension on it. Not too much, just a little bit. And turned it up, pulled it out, and there it is. So that thing's pretty good size. That's heavy and covered in grease and oil, and my hands too. Makes things slippery. But this is about all it does right here. I took the solenoid off here. Yeah, I put that on there about 2-3 years ago. That was only like 30 bucks, I think. I'm not sure, but its job was do this. And I think that might have been bad. I don't know if it was that or this. And that blows the thing off. But we got a whole new starter anyway, so I'll go ahead and keep this. The starter itself, it still works. Keep it as a spare. And the other one's on its way, should be here tomorrow, so while I'm waiting on it, I'm gonna go get a new fuel filter and put that on. New fuel filter. Check all this wiring too. I seen a bare spot in it somewhere. Try to clean all this grease off. Put that back on the starter. But yeah, I hope that'll help at that new starter. Cold weather starting right now without a block heaters, it's a headache. And it's killing my batteries too. I got 2 batteries in there. They're 2-3 years old also, and running that starter like I was is killing it. It's January 26th, and I got the new starter. From what I can tell, it's pretty the same all the way around, other than the starter itself smaller. A special gear reduction starter, so kitty. But I've already set it in there and it looks like it'll fit pretty good, so I hope. I looked at the teeth, they look the same on the other one, so we'll get it bolted up and hook the wires back up, and hopefully it'll work real good. I finally got the new starter set in there, and it was harder to put that nut and bolt back in it than it was to take it out. That took some time, and I marked the date and hours. I put this on, I put it there, and on the other side just in case it wears off. But I gotta put the wiring harness back down here and hook it up to the solenoid. I'm going to stick the new fuel filter in and hooked the fuel line up to the pump. Got a new Napa Gold filter, 3370. And I put the hours and date and how much I bought it for right there. It's $39.11 with taxes. And this is the old one. I put that on December 2nd of 2022 at 85.3 hours, and the new one's going on at 138.6. Yeah, that old one, it was full of grime. So we'll work on putting the new filter on and the wiring harness, and hook the fuel pump back up, turn the fuel on, turn the battery switches on, and crank it over and see if it'll work. So I'll catch you in a little bit. Alright, I got it bolted in there. I'm going to do my final check. I got the cables on. I had to do some modifying. These wires are going on this side this time. It's backwards compared to the other one, and it's on the right post because they're labeled. I had to file the hole out in this bigger to fit on the new one. Got my line on, fuel line, wiring harness back on, fuel filter in, fuel's turned on, the batteries are on now. And this needs primed, and right down here on this fuel pump, there's a lever to prime this, but it used to work. Unfortunately, it does not now. I'll probably look at buying another one of those fuel pumps in the future. But I cut it back on, and a little bit of fuel run in there, so I'll just have to crank it over and see if it'll pump in there. But there is fuel in this pump though, because you know I turned it on and it run through the line into the filter. So we're gonna turn the ignition on and bump it and see if it works. I've never tried this yet. This is the first time. And it's out of gear, and here we go. There it is. Well, that sounds different than the old one, that's for sure. We're getting fuel in the filter. It's filling up. I really wish that primer worked. When you get air in them injectors, it's a it's a headache to bleed, which I've done that several times before. I bled them when I put the new head gasket on this. I'm gonna try something here. I don't know if I can take that off and put fuel in it and put it on there fast enough before it runs out or not. I'm going to try that, but I'll catch you back in a minute. Alright, we're going to try this again. I just took that off and filled it full with diesel. So, we might still get some air in the line, but oh well. Hopefully it'll run out and fix itself. But let's try it again. Cat! Here, get down from there. Oh, sorry, cat. All right, let's see. I got the air in the line. Let's see, I might have a bad connection too. Might have to clean them up. I'm gonna clean them connections up right there a little bit. They're a little bit dirty, but I think that's why it was doing that. Cat, where'd you go? There it is. Poor cat. But that's pretty much it. I'll clean them connections up, and that thing looks like it's ready to go. It sounds different than the original starter, but it's a smaller motor, but it's some kind of gear reduction starter. So, but that's it for the day. That's all. The rest is just putting the guard back on, the shield or brush guard, whatever you want to call it, and cleaning up my mess. But, thank yous for watching. Hopefully it wasn't too boring for you.